Because of my last Schaublin video, I had issues with the final drive pulley was riding up on the barriers on the side of it. I had to pull this lathe out from the wall. And since it's pulled out, I think I'll take the opportunity to offer up the original cover and take a look at how much I'm going to need to cut away of it to make the thing work in here. Does this happen in your shop as well, where if an inanimate object sits long enough, it just becomes furniture? I still need to get a fitting so that I can connect my nice TIG torch to my welder. I got the wrong gas fitting on it. It'd be kind of nice to get this corner back actually. Before I put the main swarf hood on, I need to work out how these bits all go together. Okay, that just bolts with 2 screws there, so that really doesn't affect the hood. This is the front track that it mounts on. Okay, I'm guessing I need to shorten this a bit down this far end because I shortened the electrical cabinet. But hey, let's just throw this on loosely and throw the top on and see what it looks like. Because the main thing I'm looking at here is how much of this can I cut away. So why do I think I can chop this down smaller? Well, when I did my conversion, these were the motors that were fitted originally. DC motors with these big sort of shrouds over them to protect the resolvers or tachos or whatever it was. But I removed those motors and replaced them with some modern 3-phase servos, and that cut down a lot of length. I already shortened this cover, although looking at it I could probably shorten it up even further, because any distance I can get out of the back here means I can move the lathe closer to the wall and just generally have it out of the way. Oh wait, before I start finalizing how much I cut off there, I also need to look at what's the maximum cross slide travel in that direction. I got a feeling I already calculated that, and that's why I cut that to this size. Okay, so the cross slide does stick out further than that cover, so that means the most I can cut off is about 9 centimeters. So, good to know. Also, while I'm working on it, I'll have to try and see if I can panel beat out this bend here. I think this came from a ratchet strap while it was being transported. They didn't think that through. I'm guessing that these are the sort of rubber where you have to take out this insert piece and then you can take the panes of plastic out, which will probably replace them at the same time. They're pretty worn. But all in all, I must say having decent shielding is one of the big advantages of a CNC machine. Something I really like on the mill, and I'm looking forward to having it here as well. I figured, especially because I'm working on this job at the moment where I'm generating massive amounts of swarf, it really would be nice to have this in place. Right, I think I'll just take this off while I'm mucking around with the whole top thing so it doesn't get scratched up. Already took the screws out. Not sure if it's just glued on with coolant or some real adhesive, but okay, it was just a bit of double-sided tape. Now, it would definitely be a fair question whether it's worth my time and effort to cut, grind, weld, grind, paint strip, repaint, just to save 90 millimeters. But I'm very space limited here, so it's worth it to me. Right, the first thing I'm going to need to do is just tack weld my guide on. So I'll just take a bit of the old paint off to get something to weld to. for that up. Right, next I'm going to need to prep this for welding, which means grinding all the paint off around the bits that need welding. Gross job. Now I think the first thing I'm going to need to do is get these windows out. I wonder if it's easiest to just go through and cut it. Oh, okay, that's actually still quite nice and flexible, so maybe I can reuse it. That was easy. Of course, as is typical with a project like this, one thing leads to another. You can see that the paint's flaking pretty badly at the back. With all the welding and stuff I'm going to do in it, it's going to need paint touch-up, so I might as well strip it and repaint it. Next up, I need to take a go at panel beating that dented window frame. Right, I've got sick of paint stripping, so I think it's time to start tacking this together. You've got a gap there, but I'm touching here, so I can just take a little bit off this bit here. Right, well, this was one of my multiple walks of shame to go and regrind my tungstens. With it now tacked together, I'll just offer it up and make sure it still fits without too much warping before I weld it out. Right, I just need to weld this top seam and then the welding's finished. Now that all the welding's done, I'll just knock down all the high spots and grind them smooth in preparation for painting. Right, while I'm welding, grinding and painting, I've got this little job to do as well. This is the gutter for my surface grinder. It hits in this back corner on the casting when the cross slides right back. Now the idea is going to be that I just lop off this corner here and replace it with a quarter section of a piece of pipe. Didn't quite get the fit up I should have for TIG welding, but let's see how it works. Well, this is one of those measure twice before you cut once learning opportunities, because it still hits and blocks the travel. However, I thought that I needed to be all the way into this corner because otherwise I run out of travel with my drain here. However, that's as far over as the table goes. So all I need to do is just chop that off square. Could have done that the first time, would have saved me a bunch of work. By the way, Stefan Gotteswinter put me onto those 3M Cubitron cutoff discs. Now they cost a lot more than cheap discs, but this disc has done all of the work you've seen in this video, cutting up that whole swarf guard, and it's lost, what, 5 millimeters of 7 millimeters of diameter, something like that. They last forever. They're fantastic. Okay, 40 millimeters. Oh, it helps if you turn the gas on. Anyway, once that gutter was done, I still had a bit of welding to do on a couple of corners on the main swarf guard, so I got in and finished those off as well. Right, now for the top coat, long-time viewers will know that I'm a big fan of the German industry norm that requires you to paint all machines in Reseda green, which is RAL 6011. However, just about out of it. So I went to buy some more, and unfortunately I've got to make a bit of a confession here. It turns out that while German machines have to be painted in RAL 6011, this Schaublin's not from Germany, and the Swiss, probably as a big joke, painted the machine in a color which is about halfway between RAL 6011 and RAL 6010, which is grass green. So to get the right color, I had to buy half of what I need of each, I'm going to have to mix them. Here you can see the color difference quite well between Reseda green and grass green. So there we have it, Rails 6010.5, Reseda green. I do actually like the color better than Reseda green because I think Reseda green's just a bit too dull. Then on the second coat, I had real trouble getting the gun to do a consistent paint delivery. It would start fine, but then reduce the amount of paint that was coming out. I've kind of played around with all different settings, but it was only at the very end when I cleaned the gun and I realized I still had the bung in the cap, so I couldn't get any air into the chamber to replace the paint that was being used. Duh. I'd already decided that this patch here didn't need repainting, but unfortunately you can see just how the paint color mismatches. That new paint color I mixed up is a bit too green. I guess I shouldn't have gone for 50-50, 60-11 and 60-10. It's probably more like 2/3 60-11. I'll have to get another pot of it and mix some more into this paint, but I'm not repainting this. I'll just use swarf to wear it off. This whole cover runs on 4 of these. Quite nicely made. They've got bearings in them. There's like a track for them to run on, and they have a nice accenter machined into them, so it's easy enough to adjust the height of the whole cover. Mail time. This is my new material for making the windows out of. So the width's perfect. Now, being a fan of making things unnecessarily hard for myself, I think the best thing to do is to try and reuse the old seals, because the rubber in this one feels very nice and flexible still. They have this kind of lock strip in them. All looks a bit different to a modern lock strip. But let's have a go at lubing that up with some silicone grease and seeing if we can get it installed. I watched a few videos on how to install this stuff in there. First bit's easy, just stick it in the outside of the frame. There are special tools that are required for sticking the glass into the inside. Now, I'm not sure if you're supposed to use the rope method with this kind of seal, or that's only to be used if you've got seals that don't have these locking strips. Okay, that's kind of nice. Try not to scratch up my nice new window. With a bit of patience, it popped in fine. Also, the locking seals seem to go in fine with just the assistance of a screwdriver. Bit of a slow process, you sort of had to work your way around, but it worked fine. This old seal is a bit repairished up at that top left-hand corner, so that was a bit slow going around there, but the rest of it worked a lot faster. And once I knew what I was doing, that second window also went in nice and smoothly. Okay, well that one went in even better. There's one more piece that goes on before that main swarf guard. This tray sort of unit. Fits down here and just also helps pick up all of the extra swarf. Now, to stop the cover from just falling off its rails, Schaublin made these kind of clamp blocks. There's one for either side. Let's go up under here. Okay, finishing touches. I'm really glad I've done that. Having a swarf cover makes a big difference with a CNC machine, with any machine really. And although it was a lot of work, being able to save an extra 10 centimeters at the back here just makes for a lot more sort of usable space here in my workshop, so that's cool. I'm glad I don't have to move this power socket. I only really use it for the drill press, so that's fine. Great to have that one done. It's also nice to pick up a couple of square feet here in the corner of my shed, although I'm sure this is going to fill back up with junk fast enough. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time.